go if you got your funky bus fare.
We never talked about Dan Didio.
How did that happen?
Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
It doesn't matter anymore.
No.
He's stepped down as co-publisher of DC Comics. Now, he's a writer. He's an editor. As co-publisher, usually I would think of that as like a creative role, like editor. But no, he's like, the chief creative force, along with like Jeff Johns, who also stepped down from his creative. I think he was the chief creative officer.
Okay.
It's weird when you have a corporate structure with something that produces art,
Yeah.
like who does what.
Mm-hmm.
But he and Jim Lee were co-publishers.
Yes.
And were in charge for a while, basically from New 52 till now. So 10, 15 years. And he left. And nobody knows why. And he hasn't said anything, which is not weird because I can imagine NDAs or all sorts of things, unless it's like impending lawsuit or something that he needs to contend.
Yeah.
So nobody knows. And then Jim Lee just the other day said they're not replacing him. Jim Lee will just be the publisher of DC Comics.
Okay. All right.
I guess.
Yeah.
Jim.
Maybe.
Jimmy boy.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out when we go to Emerald City Comic Con.
Well, people will be talking about it.
Jim Lee will be there.
People will be. Well, of course he will.
Yeah.
Dan Didio might be there.
Well,
you sit it out. Now he's. I don't know. We've had worse, right?
Sure.
There must be worse. I feel like a lot of people he's been a controversial figure. Not everybody loves him. I didn't really like him all that much.
No.
But I feel like people like that get things done. Everybody hated Jim Shooter, and I feel like Jim Shooter got a lot of things done. Mm-hmm. He also held a lot of people back, and things didn't get done. Has there ever been... Joe Quesada is probably the most successful guy I can think of in that he became... I think he was like president. I'm not sure. But again, I don't know this structure. But he was in charge of the publishing wing in the early aughts. And then we saw the Marvel Comics go from just coming out of bankruptcy to being the dominant creative force in humanity right now. Mm-hmm. So that would be success. Now, I don't know if he had any hand in that or just presided over it. But either way, good job.
Yeah.
I think he recently just stepped down from that role too, but
Okay.
I'm sure he's still, executive producer or
Sure.
something. Yeah, nobody knows. There's a rumor that Marvel was going to buy DC Publishing.
Whoa.
And Jim Lee did not shoot that down, but he dismissed it.
Okay. It doesn't say yes or no.
No.
As far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
Okay.
What is going on over there?
I do not know. I would be really surprised if Marvel and DC were under the same umbrella, and I think that would be kind of weird. But I guess it's not unspeakable necessarily.
Well, you just did.
Yeah, I know.
You spoke it. I just think it's weird. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it could happen. I don't know. So nobody knows why. I think it might be health.
Really?
Well, don't you think?
Well, how old is he? I don't even know.
He's 60.
Okay, so, I mean...
Oh, please.
Not necessarily.
Come on, please. I'm not far from the He better not be health. So hopefully everything is okay.
Yeah.
And he stepped down because of his horrible, horrible creative decisions for the line and not because of any health or tragedy.
Yeah.
So, but we're thinking of that big bald doofus. He's on my mind. You can disagree with somebody. You can have complicated feelings and still care about them.
Sure.
And I wouldn't want anything bad to happen.
Yes. No,
So,
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Hopefully things are okay. But he is out at DC.
Yes.
But we're in.
Yeah.
We're in the know, and we're bringing it to you. This is we know how to yes and. I know that like I can be, at least for you, somebody who is difficult to join.
I just don't
In
always...
the double Dutch game of broadcasting,
okay. Wow.
there are two little black girls on either side. In what's the look for? Wait, you ever seen a white kid double Dutch?
Okay. All right.
All right, look, there are two racially indistinct little girls on either side who definitely have pigtails. And then remember the solid color balls?
Yes.
You know, that with the bolo balls that would
Yes.
hold the pigtails in?
Yeah.
And they're going, and you're like, oh, let me get in there. Yeah, and then you jump out. It's like, all right, great. Hey, Aaron, come on in. All right, ready? No, up.
Yeah.
It's like a blur, and then I jump in, and you're like, leaning forward, back, forward. Okay, here we go. All right.
This is where I'm going to jump in. No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
But just jump in. Worst thing's going to happen is you're going to get a jump rope wrapped around your neck, and some racially indistinct kids are going to laugh at you.
Great. Thank you.
That's
for
our
that.
motto on the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Yukon Hana.
We're here to bring you all the news that's fit to cast in nerdy entertainment. And here's some news.
Okay.
We're going to Emerald City Comic Con.
That's right.
We have not been talking about this.
No.
And we really should have been, because it'll be kicking the desk. It'll be 2 weeks, essentially, 2 shows until you hear from us. And we're going to do what we always do, which is give you a little bit from every day of the show. We'll be talking to creators, artists, actors, activists, personalities from the floor of the show, and then giving you little bits, little reports every day from the floor of the show. Then when we get back, usually the week after, we have a big show. Now, you've seen this before. It's been a while since we've done this.
Yes.
2016?
I think so.
Taking a break
Yeah.
from Emerald City. And at I don't know, I just felt right.
Yeah.
We'd done it like 3-4 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But right at the time when big changes were happening. And
Yes.
so I'm not sure. This is like, you've gotten so big. We could come back to a show that could look a lot different. Especially if
true.
everybody's dead from coronavirus.
Oh, I hope that's not going to be the case at all.
We'll see. I had my eye on the Emerald City account and on Facebook, and there was a thing just
There
today
was a
or
post.
yesterday that was like,
Yep. Talking about
still
it.
on.
Yep.
We're going to hose everything down with napalm and do our best.
Yeah. And
But here's what you can't control.
What?
Some weirdo in a Thanos costume is going to sneeze all over me, and then that's the end of the Just Enough Trope podcast.
Oh, I really hope
Who's
not.
going to bring you the news that's fit to sneeze in the world of nerdy
Oh,
entertainment?
come on. I am gonna buy some hand sanitizer.
You're going to bug it a buy?
I'm gonna bug it to buy some hand sanitizer, and I freaking hate hand sanitizer. I think it's bad because I think germs mutate, and you're
You don't if
kinda-
they're dead.
Well, yeah, okay, but I
Dead germs
feel
don't mutate. There's a t-shirt.
yeah, okay. I feel like I need to buy it in order to, not get the virus. And I'm not. You know what else I'm like?
You know what you need to do?
What?
From the guy who, like clockwork, gets sick once a year in like January, February. Did it this year too. Still getting over it. Just don't lick things. Don't rub your eye. Don't touch things and rub your eyes. Just think about not touching your face.
I know. That's
for the whole
like,
weekend.
The hard thing.
Yeah.
And then do we shake hands? Do we not shake
No,
hands?
nobody shakes hands this year.
Okay. Because
Right.
that's going to be kind of weird.
Yeah.
You just say, hey, we're just being cool. We're not shaking
Elbow
hands.
bump.
We'll bow. Whoa, there's a sneeze.
It's starting.
Oh my gosh. We'll do a little bow to each other or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of other ways you can nice to meet you.
Butt rub.
Oh boy.
Just turn around.
Okay.
Rub your butts together.
Great.
As they did in Victorian England. And that's what we're talking about today.
Wow.
I still
Bringing
got it.
back. Yeah.
We, I think we've sort of telegraphed this, but we have been watching some corset films, as I like to call them,
Yes.
and wanting to explore some of the tropes of those films. And the way that we wanted to explore it was not to just get out, the Joe Cornish, no, not Joe Cornish, Joe Wright. Joe Cornish is Attack the Block. Joe Wright is Pride and Prejudice.
Yes.
Or to get out the Paltrow Emma. We wanted to this is in the same way that bank heist movies are basically a genre. This is its own universe of genres.
Oh, sure.
At this point, there are a lot of these, but we wanted to push the boundaries of that to celebrate the release of Emma, which was released in limited theaters this weekend, full release next weekend. And we've seen it. We want to talk about that, but we wanted to explore the ins and outs of that genre and where people have taken it
Yeah.
by looking at Emma, which is traditional, but I would consider it, since it's 2020, and you can't. It's like we should have watched Greta Gerwig's Little Women.
Oh, yeah.
Although that's not really corset necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But the way that she tried to bring a modern spin on it, we're looking at a neo textual lens at
Yes.
Emma, which we'll talk about the creators when we get there. We wanted to move into genre, specific subgenre, by looking at Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yes.
From a little while ago, the movie. And then also checking out an old classic.
An old classic.
It's a brand new film.
Yeah.
Called Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which has been making waves. We'll get there. We'll get to it. In the communities. But we could talk about that. Well, we'll talk about it when we get there. We got a news story for that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I can't wait to start screaming about that. And I'm going to savor it, and we'll get there after the news. Do you like cool hip-hop lo-fi beats to study to?
Oh, sure.
For a little time, a short while, Chilled Cow, the creator of the lo-fi hip-hop beats to study to,
Okay.
had a takedown notice,
Ooh.
which suspended that account,
Okay.
as it does, and so that live stream ended.
Oh.
Almost immediately, that was... Now, I don't really know anything about where the music comes from, or
Chilled Cow. Or...
Yeah, right. But I don't know if Chilled Cow creates the music. I don't know. But for some reason, nobody had ever tried to strike this copyright, but he got one. Channel shut down, immediately rectified it, back on the air. But it was a live stream, which meant it had been going on for a long time.
Jeez.
So he had to, and I'm just assuming it's a he. I shouldn't. They had to start a new one. So they did. Worry not. Lo-fi, chill, hip-hop study beats to get up to is back on the air.
Yeah.
But the old one is now done. It is sort of calcified as a video.
Uh-huh.
It'd be like when we go live on Spreaker, it doesn't know how long it's going to be, but when we're done, then it sort of takes it all, wraps it up, and then publishes it, and it's way too long. 3 hours long. Way too long. Well, speaking of way too long, YouTube spit out a video, which is unplayable because it goes beyond the length of a YouTube video. But the final tally was 13,000 hours, 13,165 hours.
Do we know how many days that translates into besides a lot?
Do the math.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Okay. That's a really long time. That is seriously commendable, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the new video is also live stream, I'm guessing?
Yes. It's essentially the same picture from Whispers of the Heart, or whatever the Ghibli film that the picture's from.
Yeah. I don't...
You didn't react to that?
I don't think
Whisper of the Heart? Whisper of the Heart.
Is it Whisper of the Heart?
It is Whisper of the Heart.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was not a Ghibli film, but in that style.
Oh, well,
but I could be wrong.
Talk to Polygon.com. The point is that this is something
wrong.
That it's too late to look it up now, right?
I know.
No, not when you spent that much time on it. You spent all that time vamping, and you could have just been looking it up while I was talking about something else, and then just cut in and say, "You're wrong, j'accuse." This has been a problem for a couple different channels like this. And when I say problem, I mean this has been a justice has served on a criminal. We don't really know.
Whoa.
There is no law about this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If
Sure.
they took a particular chill lo-fi hip-hop beat like Drake's Scorpion and just started playing it and then charging ads on it, they expose themselves and YouTube to trouble. But that's what happens on YouTube every single day. And nobody makes a big deal out of it because Drake Vivo probably has the best version of that song anyway.
Right.
And so everybody listens to music for free now on the internet.
Yes, right.
But for some reason, somebody had a problem with Chilled Cow.
Huh.
Which is weird.
I wonder why.
He's pretty laid back. Chilled Cow would be he's halfway to ice cream. His Chilled Cow is I'm sure Kemp's system. Remember Kemp's? Somebody at Kemp's or the ad agency's like, you got to put the cows front and center.
Yeah, I
People
know.
think ice cream, they think cows.
Yeah.
So it's like all these cows are like, what's going on?
We're talking.
Take the mucus like substance expressed from my body, add strawberries to it, and you got a treat.
I feel like there were talking cows for like milk and like cheese ads too that weren't Kemp's.
Well, there's the cows who admonish you to eat more chicken for Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Is that Chick-fil-A or is that Chick? Yeah, that's
Chick-fil-A. It's Chick-fil-A. But I think like there was ones that like were like the best cheese comes from Wisconsin or something like that. There was some advertisement along those lines and like
would a cow
the
eat cheese?
best cows. Huh?
Would a cow eat cheese?
I don't.
Or would it turn
I
its
think
nose
it
up?
would be weird, right? That's weird, isn't it?
I don't know if cows care. That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Jump in. It's a double Dutch.
Yeah.
It's like quadruple Dutch.
I think no. I think they're mostly plants. They eat plants.
I think a cow will. No, they feed cows feed that isn't just plants. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, and sometimes they feed protein to animals that wouldn't normally eat protein in those quantities to bulk them up.
Oh,
that's how you get like, I'll take 2 of the spices and then 1 of the regular breasts, and you get the chicken, and it's like a 5-pound breast of chicken. I mean, you wouldn't have that in the old timey days when Davy Crockett was like cooking up chicken at the Alamo. This is like a little chicken.
Yeah, right. And then you kind of wonder what.
We have no chance of staying on track this week, do we? Well, you know who's off track?
Who?
Love Victor.
Oh, I know.
Love Simon, the popular, and look, let's face it, it was popular, and it's like 80 something on Rotten Tomatoes. So this movie was a success.
Yes.
Creatively.
Yes.
Maybe not financially. It's based on a book by Becky Albertalli, your bestest friend in the world.
Yes.
And so that's why we report positively on it. It was okay. No, I'm just kidding. It's being developed into a series. It has been. It is going to be a series. It is right now a series by Disney, which I don't know how that works. Was that the original distributor?
I think
Berlanti Productions.
It is Fox Searchlight or something like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get used to that new reality
I
now.
I know.
I can't believe Trump is president.
Yeah.
I can't believe Disney owns Fox.
Yeah.
Anyway, they developed this show. It's a spin-off series. So as far as I know, although maybe some of those actors are looking for jobs, it's not really going to feature the people from the movie.
From what I understand, and I'm not 100% sure about this, so it's going to focus on a different character, which is why it's called Love Victor now. They changed the name.
Right.
But he is kind of like a pen pal with like Simon or something like that. I think that is kind of what I've heard, and that the actor who played Simon in the movie might do some like voiceover work for the show. I don't know if that is 100% accurate or not.
Why not?
I read an article about it, and
Why
I can't
are you
remember.
reading articles? Why aren't you reading texts?
Yeah, well,
I know things about stuff that I can't tell anybody.
Yeah, I know.
Because of my writer friends.
Yeah, I know.
And
I think that's true. So yeah, but I know the story that you're referencing.
Land it.
Because it was supposed to be on Disney Plus, but they are now moving it to Hulu because they were concerned that some of the content was more adult.
Oh, you mean gay?
I don't know if that's what it is or not. That's what I'm kind of upset about.
Right.
Because you guys were developing this. You knew what it was. You were developing it for Disney Plus. And, if it's too adult, like, I want to know if the story was about a kid who fell in love who happened to be heterosexual, would it be too adult or not? Well, that's what I want to know. Like, what is the content?
And the argument or whatever the objection is that, Hulu is a big platform. It's nothing to shake a stick at.
Right.
That don't make any sense. But it's not Disney Plus. Disney Plus is the more prestige sort of platform.
It's true.
That's the argument, right? Because this is a downgrade. This is the same downgrade that Hilary Duff is struggling with, in that they want to move her show to no, her show is on Disney Plus, and she wants it moved. Let's not be bad hosts.
Yeah.
Let's just say that Lizzie McGuire's reboot might not happen.
Yes.
Anyway, and so people are like, well, what the hell? Why is it being moved to Hulu?
Right.
And I don't disagree with that.
You don't?
No, I think that I don't know. I can't think of. I guess I don't have Disney Plus, so I don't know really what's on there. I'm sure that there are some R-rated movies on there, but I think
they try to keep it PG.
Well, then if they keep it PG, then I don't want Love Victor on there.
Or maybe PG-13?
I want Love Victor. I
don't
complain
know.
about this all the time, that like kids' entertainment is getting really complicated, but kids have to deal with these issues. So even though I don't want to watch teenagers bang, maybe teenagers want to watch teenagers bang.
Right.
And this,
like a 13 Reasons Why or something like that.
But not that, though, because that show is not only
Execrable?
creatively bad, but great, I gotta find a new word that means bad, because you've taken that one now. It is reprehensible.
There you go. There you go.
But Love Victor, I think, has a chance to be something really great, and if they
Yes.
want to use an F word or two, I think they should be able to.
Yeah, I see
If
what
people
you're
are getting
saying.
paid less or something because of this, that's bad news. But I
Yes.
think Hulu's probably a better fit. Of course, I don't know. Now I got to get Hulu, so I guess I'm a little upset about that.
Right.
And the good news is they're already working on a season 2. So this will be around for at least 2 seasons.
Yeah, there
All
you
any
go.
TV show really needs to tell a story.
Yes.
Well, speaking of TV shows that I don't watch, Doctor Who might be in trouble.
Uh-oh. Why is it in
I
trouble?
get so used to hating things
Yeah.
that it becomes easy for me to pile on rhetorically about something.
Okay. Sure. I
don't want to do that with this.
Okay.
Here's what I want to say.
Go for it.
I have not enjoyed the adventures of the 12th Doctor so far, and the 11th season? Oh, yeah, the 13th Doctor.
Yeah.
The 11th season? Or
We're something like that.
Anyway,
I'm
doesn't
not, I've
matter.
lost
I have
track.
not enjoyed it. I don't think that Chris Chibnall has a strong vision for the show, and I think the writing... Did they get a brain drain? No, they tried to add new voices, which I think is good, but, if Stephen Moffat writes 7 scripts, yeah, it's a white guy writing them, but they're going to be pretty peppy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a growth year, but
Yeah.
it's turning into 2 growth years, because
Yes.
there's been a lot of trouble with this second season of
The
the
current
13th
season.
Doctor.
Yeah.
A lot of people, disingenuous or not, have been vocal about it not being very good, and not having a lot of direction. And I think it's very telling, in the same way that Liz Warren was promised to never take any Super PAC money, and then she's
Right.
running out of money, and she takes Super PAC money.
I know.
Chris Chibnall is like, we're not taking any, there's all new stuff, new ideas, we're not taking anything from the old thing. It's like, oh, hey, Captain Jack. Oh, look.
It's the Master.
He wants to bring, the Master. He wants to bring Rory back. He wants to bring Amy Pond back.
Yeah.
And River Song. And it's like, okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, I think those actors have kind of moved on to do other things too. I don't know. We watched all of the first season of the 13th Doctor, and I found it hard.
Remember when it just ended?
Yes.
You're like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. I found it hard to find like a really strong through line for the season, which I feel like a lot of
The through
the
line
seasons...
was Graham's wife died, and then
I know, but it was like, oh my gosh. And then like, I'm fine with the fact that they have multiple companions, but I don't, and I think I've said this before on the show.
you have
don't-
many, many, many times.
I don't think that
which
they've
makes me
developed
wonder why you're
them
saying it now, but
enough.
yeah.
So, and if you're going to bring the Master back, make it new and different. And, I mean,
She's just getting it all out right now.
well,
Remember when I
mean-
started this by saying, it's easy for me to rhetorically pile on,
yes,
and then
I
you
know.
just, here are my 18
I
reasons why
know.
I don't like it.
I know, and I haven't really seen much of the season, so I can't really say much as far as that goes.
Right, but I just wanted to say, 3 years ago I said Chris Chibnall wasn't up to the job, and here we are.
I know.
And everything to me is like, watching a slow motion car accident happen, or that drug commercial where the girl and her friend are walking and the girl's on the train track and she's like, I don't know, it's her life. I don't know if I should help her. And the train runs her over, right? You've seen that one.
I don't know if I have.
Well, I'm going to put it in right here.
Oh my gosh.
My friend Nancy's been doing a lot of drugs. I know it's catching up with her. I can see it coming. But what can I do? If I say anything, she'll think I'm not cool. And I don't want to lose a friend. I mean, it's her life. Right?
If you have a friend who's in trouble with drugs, don't just stand there. Do something.
Anyway, I mean, I don't have any power, but everything is just like, this is clearly a bad idea. Nope, face tattoo it is. Face tattoo for me. You don't want this. And that's where we are. Speaking of a better Chris.
Uh-oh.
Right? He hasn't done anything bad yet, right?
I don't know.
Chris Evans.
No, not as far as I know.
Might play the dentist in the Little Shop of Horrors remake that's in the
I
works.
saw something about that.
And it's Greg Berlanti. Speaking of Greg Berlanti.
Of course it is. Greg Berlanti is everywhere.
He really is. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how he does it either,
Does
honestly.
he have a significant other?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Because
does he spend any time at home?
You'd never see each other.
No. Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
I mean, Steve Martin was fantastic in that role. It's a fun role. As
was something the original one.
Who
was the dentist in the Corman one?
I don't
Jack
remember.
Nicholson was the patient, but I don't remember who the dentist was.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Jim Neighbors. Well, golly! Let's get that tooth out.
I mean, I guess it's been a while since they did a Little Shop of Horrors, so why not?
Every 24 years, there's an Emma, so we'll get there, maybe. Let's talk about Alison Brie. There is a rumor that she's in the running for She-Hulk.
Not...
Which, this is one of those bad rumors because it's not connected to anything. There's another rumor. Let's just talk about all the rumors. Marvel rumors.
Marvel rumors.
Another rumor that Henry Cavill is being looked at or has been cast to play Wolverine.
I freaking hate that rumor with every fiber of my being.
To appear in Captain Marvel 2. That's like when they'd introduce him.
Yes. I like Alison Brie. I'm not sure that I really like the idea of her playing She-Hulk.
So I'm like many have. I've got Alison Brie-itis.
Oh, sounds bad.
Brie syndrome, overexposure. I'm kind of sick of her, right?
Fair.
I think she's very talented.
Yeah,
but we got it.
Mm-hmm.
And but I was thinking about it, and like my ultimate dream plan for She-Hulk, which would be to get two different people to play Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk.
I don't disagree with you.
Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
But then I started to think about it, and it's like, I think she could do it. She's good enough. So here's what I'm sick of with her. She's either like a goofy girl with problems.
Yes.
Actually, that's all she is. She's only ever a goofy girl with problems, and then depending on the knob that goes comedy tragedy, we just turn
that's true.
The darkness of the performance. Like, I haven't seen horse porn or whatever
horse
the new
girl.
Whatever the new thing is, but I get the feeling that that's like more
sad.
This is a sad.
Yeah.
But she's still like a goofy girl with problems.
Yes.
But goofy girl with problems would be perfect, and she could do like the more reserved kind of character for Jennifer Walters, and she could just be like smacking asses, as She-Hulk. She could just be running around, blowing through walls, and I think this would really work. You would, and I think that this is what they're going to do. They'll never do two different people because they're too in love with their CGIs, and they're like, she won't even have to put makeup on at this point. Like, they'll just
probably not.
Make her green.
Well, she'll have to wear like the mocap and stuff like that. Like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just avatar this thing.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, just a rumor. It's just a rumor, but I think it's about time to get Alison Brie in the Marvel Universe, right? It might be past time.
Yeah, maybe past
time.
She's
on Netflix now.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it would be a TV show on Disney Plus, so we're still talking TV.
I suppose. Yeah, she's a TV star. And the guy that would make that decision, or at least help, is not going to anymore, Bob Iger has stepped down as the
Right.
CEO of Disney.
Yes, I heard about that. Effective immediately, which doesn't sound good.
Again, as far as I saw, no stated reason
No.
except just spend more time with my family. When I did say that.
Right.
And he is being replaced by Bob Chapek, who is the chairman of Disney Parks. Now,
Okay.
Bob Iger, I don't think he never wrote a script or anything.
No.
But the guy from the parks?
That seems like an odd choice, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is this Succession? Isn't one of the characters in charge of like the theme parks or something? They own...
Oh, I think they have theme parks. Yeah.
Well, they have theme parks. But
Yeah. That's weird. It seems like a weird decision.
I don't know what this means. I feel like at the executive level, sure, there are decisions that are made, but I think it's more, questions of investment or questions of mergers or acquisitions, whereas somebody like Kevin Feige is making the day-to-day
The
overall
creative
creative decisions, right?
Yeah.
So as long as he just goes, well, there's a lot of things that happen at Disney, but I know that Kevin can, you just keep this running.
Right.
As long as the numbers get bigger.
And
Fine.
they are so far.
And
Yeah.
so far, they are.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
Okay.
nobody knows what's going on.
Another Bob.
Yep.
Okay.
The real repercussions that I saw from this was that Bob Iger oversaw the launch of Disney into the streaming space.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Like the Disney Plus experiment is not over yet.
Oh no,
And
that just
he's-
started.
and he's kind of leaving midstream here. So
It's
a
a little strange, the timing. Yeah.
continue to commit this much to it, or will
Mm-hmm.
it will Disney Plus just turn into a proprietary version of Disney shows on Netflix, which just kind of went and then petered out and died?
Yeah. Hopefully not. We'll see what happens.
Yes, we will. We won't see Steven Spielberg direct Indiana Jones 5.
I know.
Do you care about this? I don't care about this.
Not largely, but
You don't have to pretend to
a
care.
lot of fans do. A lot
No, I
of
don't think
fans
so.
care about it.
James Mangold is in talks. So the guy that did Logan. So are we going to get a Loganing of Indiana Jones?
Ooh, do we want that? It's always kind of silly, right?
He threw the whip when he threw him the idol, and it's just put his hat on the cross. And,
Wow.
Sorry, spoilers from the end of Logan.
Wow.
Okay, remember that kung fu talk from last week?
I don't know if I do.
Kung Fu on the CW,
Oh.
and us saying like, look, I'm not saying I like white appropriation of Asian culture, but why make a kung fu?
Right,
I don't think
right,
there's any way
right.
to redeem kung fu.
Right.
Well, we're going to give it a shot
Okay.
by casting Olivia Liang as the main character of the new Kung Fu show.
Okay.
And I will tell you what she's been
Yes.
on.
What has she been on?
Legacies, One Day at a Time, Grey's Anatomy. I don't know who this is.
I don't
She was
either.
in The Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
So,
She's been in a lot of stuff. I just don't know who
TV
she is.
actress who I have not run into.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it sounds like they're not doing appropriation, and instead of a guy, it's a lady. So, hey, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. But
Maybe.
Why call it kung fu? Why not just call it something else?
Maybe, but the conservatives hate us for stuff like this,
Mm.
and sometimes I see their point.
Okay.
You
Is now one of those times?
Well, if you wanted to, say, take a property that has always been a man, for instance, or is aimed toward men, and diversify it because you have a story to tell, fine. But if you are just trying to, well, we're creatively bankrupt, what do you got? Well, being Me Too is hot right now or whatever. Let's take this white guy doing kung fu, and now it's a Asian woman doing kung fu. Got it.
See
See what I mean?
Yeah.
That you have continued to be creatively bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take Queen Latifah and we'll put her in a reboot of The Equalizer on CBS. So she's the Equalizer.
Wait, what is the... Do I know what the Equalizer
The
is?
Equalizer was an old white British man in the 80s who, if you needed help, maybe you could hire that's the A-Team. It's the A-Team. It's a one-man A-Team.
Oh,
and he
okay.
goes and he solves problems. and you could look up his ad in the paper or whatever.
Okay.
Then they did 2 reboot films with Denzel Washington where he's
Okay.
on The Equalizer.
Okay.
And it's, that's right. And so they were somewhat successful. And now they're going to do an Equalizer TV show again, which doesn't seem like a bad idea, coming back to CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Queen Latifah's going to use her skills as the Equalizer to
for singing, or like how is
no,
how
she's a Delta Force badass.
Oh, okay. Never seen that from Queen Latifah before, but sure.
Has she ever been in an action movie or anything?
I don't know that
It doesn't. It's a TV show, so it's all stunt doubles, and who cares? But I'm just saying, like that. It's such an old idea. We already just remade it. Like, there's nothing else we could do. Here you go, Miami Vice. They're still in Miami,
right?
And they're still running whores up in there, right?
Right.
So what if you had 2 female Vice cops who exist in the universe of Crockett and Tubbs?
Sure.
And they're trying to get these girls out of there.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. That's not entirely original, but it's a new spin on it, which Michael Mann, the most macho creator director in the world.
Right.
What if we took another look at it? This is literally just, that's a thing. And then what was it? White man, black woman. That's not, you're not putting creativity into it.
No, they're not. I don't know. Maybe it'll be good.
All right.
Maybe it'll surprise.
Forget all this. I want to talk about corsets. So let's just do the rest of the news as a new segment called News Free Association.
Okay.
Radio Free Association. Ooh, that's a good one. I'll read a headline and you give me the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
The first thing. Okay, so here let's do an example here. Artichokes 3 for $1.
Delicious.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going with this. The new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, will come in at 163 minutes.
Too long.
Okay, all right. Great. Stranger Things' Finn Wolfhard is going to star in another fantasy sci-fi thing called Rules for Werewolves.
Typecasting.
Why the Last Man has found a new series lead in actor Ben Schetzner.
No clue who that is.
Me either. What about this? Portrait of a Lady on Fire star Adele Haenel walks out of award show after Roman Polanski win.
Woo! Yay! Yes.
Harrison Ford's Call of the Wild to lose $500 million at the box office.
No surprise.
James Gunn announces completion of Hard, the Suicide Squad shoot.
Cool.
Cool. Great. All right. That one's not great.
All right.
He was, he's relaunching the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
It's going to be, as far as we
relaunch.
know, I don't think that they're going to completely ignore the first one, but they're not looking to let us know where Mr. Echo, the Croc Man, is.
Or
like, we're not really
Deadshot.
worried about that. Yeah.
Right.
And it was pretty tough for him because his dad had died, I think, just before production started. And
I didn't know that.
Mr. Spears died like 2 weeks before it ended. His dog.
His dog. Oh no.
Yes.
So, rough time for James Gunn. Okay. Sad. How about that? Is that a better word association?
Are you more comfortable just doing it all in single words? Maybe we could do it that way if that's what.
But we could do a lightning round. Like I don't think I'm more comfortable just doing it single words. But
Sad. Dr.
Wow.
Von Spears. He briefly shut down production after Dr. Von Spears died.
Sad.
Is.
Yeah.
He always talked about that dog. That dog was in Guardians of the Galaxy. And,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
But,
Was he like he's like in the beginning?
having a career again, that ain't bad either.
Yeah. Wow.
He's going to do this little flirtation, and then it's like, honey, I know you want to get back together, but I promised Bambi that I would take her out to the Seychelles, and
Yeah,
we'll
but
come back, and then you and I can get right back together. We're making that Guardians 3.
yeah, I know, but I mean, he might get a dog again, right? I mean,
No, I'm talking about him working for Marvel.
oh, for working for Marvel. Yeah. Yeah, that felt conflicted when he was fired from Marvel and pretty excited that he's going to be back for Guardians 3. So, yeah. We'll see how his Suicide Squad turns out. I'm cautiously optimistic. Is that a good way to describe it?
Sad. It is a well-known fact that a man who has no talent as an author but really wants to write screenplays will write a book that is basically a spec script.
Yes.
And then guess what, baby? You get to write on the It movie. This whole segment won't be about Seth Grahame-Smith, but I wanted to just say that anything you don't like about this whole process, you can blame on him. It's his fault.
Well, it's his baby, and he zombified it, and
is he solely responsible for the? I mean, genre mashup has existed before he was born, but
sure.
Is he responsible for the craze in 2007 or whatever of mashing up Victorian literature with monsters?
I think so, and
you got your Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter.
Yeah.
You got your Sense and Sensibility and sea monsters.
Which is
because it starts with an S.
Silly. Yeah, I know. Zombies doesn't start with a P.
And you've Pride and Prejudice and Prodigious Undead.
Yeah, there you go. Doesn't
more thought than he put into it.
Yeah.
In 25 words, what happens in this? And I swear to God, I'll cut you off after 25.
Basically, the characters of Jane Austen's book do martial arts and fight zombies.
Okay, 15 words, but all right. 10 and racism, classism, racism. There, we got it. Oof, we got it.
Yeah.
This movie steers right into all the bad parts. You're literally taking and I know zombies have, in some form or other been around in many cultures for a long time, but we're talking about like George Romero zombies, which have only been around since 1964 or whatever it is. So it's already a modern idea.
Yes.
So why not update it? You receive no points for historical accuracy, of which, let's face it, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and steampunk. They forgot that one too. So why do they call everybody Orientals? I'm very upset by that.
I'm not cool with it either.
It's not. I understand the time. It's not necessary. I don't like the. So the Bennetts are a family of kick-ass ladies.
Yes.
And this movie, oh my God, I might find it hard to talk about how I feel because I hate it so much.
Okay, well, do you want me to fill in where? I don't like it either.
Come not between the dragon and his wrath.
Okay.
You've already done it. You've got a comedy of manners with zombies.
Right.
So the joke, here's an example of the joke, which is the joke. Oh, Mr. Burnham, I find it very uncouth of you to come into my domicile with brains upon your riding boots or something, right? Done. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, check out this garter belt I've got that's got a knife in it, and I pull my dress up and I throw this knife and it's flipping slow motion. It's Sucker Punch. It's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Sucker Punch.
Yes.
And that just shows such a lack of faith in your material, but also creativity to just know, oh, Sucker Punch came out a little while ago. People liked, that's how ladies kick ass.
I hated that movie so much. It just it was it had no plot, and it just didn't go anywhere. And yeah, we want to see ladies kicking butt, but we want to see like story and substance and not vapidness.
Is it vapid?
I felt like it was. anyways,
I just think that it's shot poorly.
Mm-hmm.
It is there's a zombie baby, which is probably the bravest thing that it did. I guess I'm not super familiar with the novel Pride and Prejudice, although I've seen a couple movie versions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's got its point of departure. There isn't actually one point of departure. The whole thing starts with, it's also pro-gentry?
Seems that way.
Okay, we're just going to spoil the movie.
Yeah.
There's a social commentary in that, guess who all the zombies are? The poor people. Because they can't isolate themselves from the rest of the world, like people who live in Pemberley, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And so we start off and all the zombies are poor. All the rich have retreated to the counties around London and dug like a giant, like mile-wide trench around London, which should be bad. That's bad, right? I could see Michael Bloomberg using a space laser to carve a giant, to make the East and Hudson Rivers wider and just carve a trench around Manhattan, and then just, what's that Onion article? A blood-soaked Michael Bloomberg says there is no more homeless problem. Like,
Hey,
I could see that happening, and that would be bad. But that's the status quo that we're trying to return to as this movie goes. And then as we go on, we find out that Mr. Wickham, the guy who is kind of the villain, a villain of Pride and Prejudice, although he's, I don't know, I guess he's a bad guy, but whatever. He still gets married to one of the sisters.
Lydia.
He is the leader of a movement, basically, that says, look, the zombies only become more, you get bit and you're dead, but you still can live a somewhat normal life if you don't eat human brains. Human brains makes you a stereotypical shuffling zombie. Right. Otherwise, you're just sort of like an intelligent undead. And we found a way, or somebody found a way, they eat animal brains.
Pig brains. It
slakes their lust. Well, in this case, it's pigs. But it slakes their lust for flesh. And so maybe we can negotiate with these people, because it keeps saying over and over again, there is no winning this war. It can't be won. They can replenish their soldiers. We become less and less. It's a real, 1%, 99% tale. Mm-hmm. But we are rooting for the 1%. And it's not Succession where we're supposed to laugh and hate them. And it's not, anything else where we're for some reason rooting for the rich people. And then, spoiler alert, it turns out, of course, that Wickham is a bad guy.
Yeah.
And his plan was to, I guess he wants to lead the army. See, he's on the side of the dead, but also he's trying to sabotage their efforts to be good because he needs to.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me at all, because
he wants them to be, he wants to lead them, but he wants to lead them as a bloodthirsty horde and not as the guy who's like their political leader, because they are once again able to join politics and society because they're intelligent. And what does that have something to do with the Four Horsemen? People who are dropped in the beginning of the film show up at the end and we don't know anything about them. This movie literally ends in the dumbest... It ends... I guess it's trying to have its cake and eat it too, because it ends like a romantic comedy, a period comedy does, with people getting married.
Yes.
And as the credits are rolling, I'm like, that can't be it.
Uh-huh.
Although maybe it is, because everything else has been a bad choice in this movie. And then guess what? Record scratch. Stop the credits. Stop it. Here comes Wickham and the army of the undead rushing Pemberley. And it's not that we're going to have to fight them someday. They're there now. And it's like, well, but then the movie ends. The credits start up again.
I know.
That's not an end.
No.
That's the last act.
Yep.
But they couldn't afford that. This movie was optioned immediately. It was picked up by Natalie Portman's production company. She was supposed to star in it. It got kicked around for almost 10 years. She dropped out, and good on her.
Yeah, that was
she won an Oscar while this was in development hell. And but you can just say, just stop it.
I know.
I mean, at some point you're pot committed, but you came up with nothing.
Well, and it is different from the book because the book doesn't have the plot that you just mentioned with Wickham. Like,
are you serious?
I'm serious.
So what happens in the book?
Like, he marries Lydia, but he somehow becomes a quadriplegic, and they move to Ireland. And
where are zombies in all this?
There are zombies around, and they're fighting and stuff like that. And Elizabeth, like fights Lady Catherine, Darcy's aunt, and defeats her but spares her life.
Sure.
And Darcy is warmed by that, and then they get together and
I hate it.
yeah.
Seth Grahame-Smith likes kung fu movies and thinks they're better than samurai movies. Prove me wrong.
It certainly seems that way in this movie.
Because and I don't know, and like in some alternate universe, this is the most successful movie ever made. But it never. We can follow. You can follow. There's movies where like a Nazi is like investigating other Nazis, and he's like, "Whoa, what are these guys doing?" And he's the hero.
Right.
Like anybody can be a hero, but you need to have some context.
Mm-hmm.
And these rich white people hate the poor people because they're dirty and infectious. Also, they appropriate Asian culture and talk to each other in Japanese and Chinese, but you
Yes.
never see any Asian people around.
No. Right. Like where are their masters that they're learning this from? Do
Right.
they must have gone to Asia and the training
Oh,
there?
you thought about that more than they did. They didn't care because now you've got chicks in garter belts, like karate kicking people.
Yeah. It's infuriating.
Who am I supposed to root for?
I know, and I don't feel
It's not shot well.
No.
It's, I mean, who is it for? Who's this for?
I don't really think it's for anybody. And like it's the actors that are in it that are talented. I feel like horrible that they were in this movie. Like, I'm so sorry you wasted your time.
No, screw them.
Screw them?
I'm not sold on this Lily James thing.
I'm not either, to be perfectly honest.
I'm not impressed by her. The guy that played Darcy was terrible. And I don't know if he is a throat cancer survivor, but he made a choice early on to do a thing.
Like he was Batman?
Yeah, he did a Batman voice the whole movie. Yeah. Poor Matt Smith is just trying to do his best.
Honestly, he was like the highlight of the film, if you ask me.
Yes, the way a rose can bloom in a septic tank,
Yes.
he was the best part of the film.
Yes.
I mean, Bella Heathcote's kind of a zero. Who else was? Wickham was a blank. I don't even remember him at all.
No.
It's just badly cast. It's just this movie was shat out. This movie plopped into theaters.
Yes, it did.
Plopping
Like
into theaters.
a turd.
Plopping into theaters.
Like a turd that
And
it
it had
is.
no good ideas. And this is how you know. And this is bad news and a future prediction for another movie we're going to talk about later. But when you don't believe in your material, you start to sweat. And when you start to sweat, you start to do stuff. And there were a lot of bits. There were things in this movie that were just ill chosen. That were just immature choices. Like, the characters in Jane Austen novels spar with words, but what if they were sparring with words and with weapons? And so there's a scene where, the scene where Darcy first, tells Elizabeth that he loves him and she rejects him because of the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
We've got that scene here, but while it's happening, they're kung fu fighting and trying to stab each other and like breaking pots over each other's head or whatever. And instead of shooting it with hot Matrix action, then we stop and then we say, I'm going to enjoy watching you die, Mr. Anderson, or whatever.
Right.
What if he said, I'm going to enjoy watching you, Mr. Anderson, while they're punching each other in the face and flipping around? You wouldn't understand what they're saying and what's going on. You wouldn't be able to focus on either the words or on the fighting. And that's what they chose to do. It's just a bad, dumb choice. It's like a high school theater choice. And then, speaking of high school theater, people are going to get bored if we're just sitting here and talking, right? So we got to have like crazy slapstick, but not even slapstick to a level that makes you go like, oh, it was a good bit. It's just like somebody runs in and people go, whoa, whoa, a lot of flailing of arms. I mean, a lot of flailing metaphorically, but a lot of flailing of limbs in this film.
Yeah, and like going back to the fighting and them talking at the same time, like the daughters spar in the basement, which is fine, but yet they were talking during that as well, and that was a little bit. They were trying to add like some comedy to that, like, oh, we're having fun, but we're like trying to beat each other up too, and it just doesn't work that well.
This movie was directed by Burr Steers.
Never heard of one.
Right, exactly. He was an actor who was in films like Igby Goes Down and 17 Again, and he wanted to be He's a director. He's Gore Vidal's nephew. So there you go. And he's directed a couple TV shows.
Okay.
Oh, he directed 17 Again.
Okay.
And he directed Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he's working on anything else.
That's not surprising.
That's it.
Kind of feel a little bit bad about that, but
That's it.
yeah.
And at first they wanted David O. Russell, which, wow.
I mean, it would have been a different movie.
Yeah. Well, that would have been a real set fire situation, as I like to say. But yeah, just a disaster front to back, capped off by an ending that ends, and then oh no, wait, and now it's over.
Yeah,
it reminded me of Spaced when they go to the performance artist show.
It's not finished. It's finished.
I think that exactly encapsulates that ending.
Real bad.
Yeah, it was astonishingly bad.
A couple gay panic jokes too.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Yeah, I always like to see that.
Yeah, that's always a good mark of a film. So
a film that's just so backwards in its eye. Have you read any other Seth Graham screen Spanish spam?
I have
spam
not.
Stuff? Yeah, I wonder if all of is he like the thinking man Seth MacFarlane or something?
And it's entirely possible. Yeah.
Don't see this movie.
No, do not
me a
rush.
favor.
Just do not watch.
Do not see this movie.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the other movie we saw? Another movie we saw?
Yes. The lady with a portrait on. Wow, am I going to say the name wrong?
This is maybe
Portrait
our
of a
worst
Lady
show.
on Fire.
This is. I'm willing to. I'll say it right now.
Wow.
I think this is one of our worst shows.
Wow. Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
I'm so glad that we planned ahead and tried to come up with this concept, which is clearly falling apart. 45% Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic for peers of the guys and the zombies and the prejudice and the hey and
Yes.
the ho, it hurts me.
Yes.
98% on Rotten Tomatoes for Portrait of a Lady on Fire and 95 on Metacritic.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Could it be done in 25 words?
I'm going to do my best.
It's 1770 in France, so we'll get you started.
Sure. A painter arrives at a house. Oh boy. And she has to paint a lady who's going to get married. Her I can't do it. Her marriage portrait, and she can't know about it.
It works.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess. And hilarity ensues. Subtitled Hilarity Ensues. Portrait de la jeune fille en feu.
That even sounds great in French.
This was directed by Céline Sciamma, who is a French screenwriter and film director who's known for her minimalist work. I think that also she's, all of her films are queer cinema, you could consider.
Sure.
Or you could you could call them. And for a movie that is set before Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, it is very minimalist. I mean, it takes place in a nearly empty house. That's something else that you could probably, except for, I don't think they bothered with this in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but in Emma and in this, the houses of rich people are not warm places. They are filled with rooms that are empty except for the paintings on the walls and the art, which they own, so no one can ever see. The public can't enjoy it unless they come and tour this giant house. But yeah, it's just like 4 characters, really like 3 characters, wandering around this old house.
Yes.
And trying to not catch on fire.
Sure. Yes. It's I would say it's definitely like a quiet film in a lot of ways.
It's literally quiet.
Yeah.
The negative space of this film from a soundtrack and audio perspective is very telling. Like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, once again, very
Constant
insecure,
noise.
is terrified that you will get bored for 1 second. Even I'm a problem with that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I had a frog in my throat, and I had to cough in like the first 5 minutes of the film, and I was afraid. I didn't cough till like the first 10 minutes had gone by, because there's a scene there's just no soundtrack and sound at all, and I was like trying to hold my cough in. I didn't want to interrupt what was going on.
Yeah, and I think it's a great tool to be able to use that when you're telling a film, and I think that there are some filmmakers that are afraid to put that in, and put a lot of music and noise and that sort of thing in.
I don't want to spoil this film, and I don't even really want a spoiler section for this film. I think people should see this film. But in order to, kind of spoil it if you are wondering where it's going, this is like, blue is the warmest pigment sort of situation. Or
Sure.
something like that.
Yeah.
Tracing Amy.
It's
Tracing Amy.
Wow.
No, I would not. I don't want to give Kevin Smith any points at all.
No.
Paint me with your face.
I kept thinking, paint me like one of your French girls
Paint me
from like
one
the
of your-
Titanic.
like one of your French lesbians. Yes.
Yes.
And it is it's a tragic story, but it's a tender story, and it's okay.
Oh.
Here's my review. It's kind of a Parasite review. I think it's fine. I think there are parts of it that are really well put together. But like we said before, the director is known for her minimalist work. That minimalist tone is in everything. I don't think all the characters have to be really emotional, or exasperated about things. But it's really low key. Adele Haenel, who plays one of the main characters, I haven't seen her in anything else, but she is almost totally a blank. And her character is supposed to be kind of enigmatic, and I think you could be that way and still show emotion. And I think you can show somebody opening up to warmth and love without them starting bonjour.
Yes, I understand what
I
you're
thought
saying.
it was fine, but
Okay.
people 98. I don't think it's a 98% though.
I guess. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting story and tragic, like you said. I thought it was interesting that the other girl who's the painter, her mother,
Naomi Merlant,
the mother character introduces
played
her
by Valeria Golino.
Yeah, as basically a friend to go on walks with.
Yes.
For like a week, which seems kind of strange, and then she's just gonna go on her way.
Well, there's a class thing here, because
True.
the Marianne, the painter character, you get the idea that she has money, but as an
independent painter or something.
But as a painter who is the daughter of a male painter, she lacks status because they don't want women to paint. So she's inherited her father's painting school. They'll allow her to teach, but nobody's going to take the work of a woman seriously. So I feel like she probably has resources and money, but she is in a lower status because of that.
Uh-huh.
Eloise, the daughter, is the daughter of a rich family, but maybe not so rich anymore because she's being married off to a rich Italian guy, so we can get that dowry, lock that out.
Right.
So it's all these characters are in lower status than they would want to be. The third hand in the movie is Sophie, the maid, and she's just a maid.
Right.
And then there's a bunch of characters in this film. We spend a lot of time in the lower quote-unquote classes of society, saying, oh, well, they're really human. Oh, they have lives of their own. It's so fascinating. I didn't think the movie was saying that, or it was just putting you there, and so that's how, like, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, we're supposed to be talking about how it's subverting tropes or whatever, and it subverts it by there's zombies,
Yes.
and a lot of cultural appropriation. But this movie does it by you're coming here to see a rich woman have her portrait painted instead, but we're hanging out, with the peasant chicks by
working
the
class.
fire, and
Yeah.
we're drinking moonshine and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're singing, and
They sing this weird song that's like, oh, I was like, I didn't know the THX song had lyrics.
and it's supposed to show like female camaraderie and that sort of thing.
Way to boil it down, insultingly reduce it.
I'm sorry.
Way
I
to
did
be
not-
super reductive.
I did not mean
it's
to do
supposed
that.
to. There is a character who, okay, right. Watch me reduce it. Lady's got it rough, yo.
This is true.
This movie likes to make sure that we know that. And at one point, one character finds out they're pregnant, doesn't want it, but doesn't freak out about it. This is just something that
happens.
women deal with, right?
Yes.
Even back then. And so she tries hanging by her hands for hours.
And like drinking.
Baby won't fall out.
Well,
And then she drinks,
drinking something.
some kind of tea or some pennyroyal tea, probably. And then she has to go to the lady, the expert in town. And that lady, has a big boxing glove that she's lacing up. She's like, well, almost ready. And you go to these women-only spaces. The movie begins with her being ferried from a ship, on a bark to this coast where the rich family lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all men, in hoses and tricorn hats. And they're not even talking to her. It's not even like, oh, how long are you going to be here? There's no crossover at all, even though she's technically higher status than they are.
Mm-hmm.
And her canvases fall in the water, and she just takes off her coat and jumps in
Right,
and gets
'cause
them, because
they're
the
not gonna
men
do it.
aren't going to do that. And then later on, she's like, how do I get to the thing? And the guy's like, yeah, it's over there, whatever. And just leaves her. And then she enters this space where it's just basically women. So, this is a movie that's like, doesn't pass the reverse Bechdel test. And that's fine.
Yes. I would agree. I say go see it. I recommend it.
Oh, it's totally worth seeing.
Yeah.
But if you're not blown away, remember what I said. But as far as, I don't know, I really want to watch more and more queer cinema films, just get, there's just so much. It's not that I was like, oh, I'd never watch something like that, but yeah, it's not marketed to us.
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to talk about next is marketed to us.
Right.
Fast and the Furious is marketed to us, or Marvel movies or whatever, and you just don't see characters like this. You don't see stories like this, and it isn't always, Queer as Folk or something like that, or Studio 54 or whatever. A story like this, you wouldn't expect. That's why this is a great thing to see, I think, because you wouldn't expect to see a story like this in this setting, but
I
of
would
course
agree with that.
it's as human a story as any other.
Of course.
So
yeah. And it's like, of course, queer people existed.
get
back
that boxing
then.
glove.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the big one. The
All
big
right.
un.
The big
The big M.
Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What two letters encompass perfection?
Yes.
M and A.
Emma.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
Good, yeah.
Didn't go over so
Good one.
well. Yeah.
Mr. Hawkins or whatever. So many names.
I know. I think that was Churchill. Yeah.
There's so many names. I didn't get. So here's the deal. Here's why it's okay. In Clueless, which
Yes.
the shadow, cloud, the bad lighting of Clueless.
Oh wow.
Emma stepped into a patch of bad lighting. That was a shadow that was being cast by Clueless.
Oh.
You
yeah.
cannot. And when I read this interview with Anya Taylor-Joy, the star of Emma, titular
Yes.
character, and she's like, "Yeah, if you watch our movie and you watch Clueless, you really see how they connect." It's like, well, your movie should stand on its own, though. It reminded me of the scene in Go, which was so long ago now. It's the 25th anniversary of Go, but where the main character, played by Sarah Polley, they go to this rave and she's selling like baby aspirin and like antihistamine and telling people that it's ecstasy. And she's selling it to like high school kids who don't know any different, you know? So it's like, do you feel it yet? And he's like, no, I don't feel it just yet. And he's like, oh, wait, yeah, I think I feel it. I think I feel it. She's like, oh, that's great. Yeah. You know what also works is if you take it with a lot of pot. That's kind of how I felt like when she said like, oh, you should watch Clueless. It's like, all right, but how much do you want that goodwill to rub off in your movie?
Yeah, I feel like
Because I think you might need it.
Don't name drop another film that is based on your film.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, you want yours to stand out on its own.
And I don't want to hear the man speak, but if Todd Phillips led every interview about Joker with, all right, make sure you see King of Comedy. And
right.
Then, right? But I feel like that just became evident in the structure of when we found out what the film was about. We're like, well, it was just King of Comedy with a little taxi driver.
Right.
But I don't think Todd Phillips started every AFI interview by saying like, all right, so we took the King of Comedy and we...
No, I don't think so.
That would kind of undercut
absolutely
the film.
Yeah.
Which was undercut enough because it only won.
Joker.
Yeah, so it was good. What happened to this film? Try. I'd like to see it happen.
Yeah. Really rough. So Emma is like well-to-do 21-year-old and
She's exactly 21 years old.
Yeah, and she lives alone with her father, and she lives a life of privilege, and she likes doing matchmaking with her friends and acquaintances. And it's one of her favorite pastimes.
Actually, she's nearly 21.
Oh, is it she's nearly 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mr. Dopey is 37. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't feel like there was that much of an age difference in the film.
Not in the movie.
No.
No.
Huh.
But if you watch Clueless, it makes more sense.
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, but I didn't even get to finish my point.
Oh.
My point is that Paul Rudd is like her stepbrother.
Yes.
Right? Which is like, but it's like from a recent marriage. So they're barely tolerating each other. They've been living together for 2 or 3 years or something like that, right? Don't just say I don't remember this. It's your favorite movie.
Well, like
they didn't grow up together. There's no way.
No, they didn't grow up together, and he was away at college and he came back. He's still kind of in college. And
okay, so maybe technically her dad has been married to his mom for a while, but they haven't seen each other.
But their parents are divorced.
The point, I don't know why I'm trying to help you.
Okay.
There's no way to square it. It's weird. In this, they say that they grew up together at one point, but she's 20 and he's 37. So I think he might have changed her diaper once.
Oh, that's okay.
But they didn't really grow up together. But he is the brother of her sister's husband, which makes them nothing. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't realize that he was the brother of her sister's husband.
Yeah. When the sister comes in with all the kids and stuff like that?
Yes.
That's his brother.
Well, I feel like that's not made really clear.
No.
I have never gotten that. And all the times I've watched different productions of Emma.
So they're nothing.
Wow, okay.
Like my sister's, husband, like his brother.
Is not.
I mean, he's a cool guy.
Right.
But we're nothing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Huh.
Now,
okay.
The aforementioned diaper changing thing is a problem, but
they're
different kinds of weird.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, sorry. Tell me what happens in Emma.
I did. She likes doing matchmaking.
She matchmakes.
And she makes mistakes.
Sometimes the matchmaker gets made matched. You know what I discovered when I was watching First Blood the other day?
Uh-oh.
Rambo is is a walking Soviet Russia joke. Because every scene in Rambo or First Blood has like, you're not hunting him, he's hunting you.
Right.
We're not stuck out here with him, he's stuck out here with us. What you call hell, Rambo calls home. In Soviet Russia, magazine read you. I don't know if they ever thought about that, or maybe that they're overusing that. Emma.
Yes.
This is a new production of Emma, obviously, duh. It is directed by Autumn de Wilde.
Okay.
Yes. This is her debut.
Oh, all right. I was going to ask what else she's done.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. She's done portraiture and commercial work. She takes pictures of musicians.
Interesting.
And she does music videos.
Okay.
She's done nothing.
All
and you
right.
know what?
Huh.
It shows.
Okay.
I did not feel that this was shot very well. I think it had its moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think ironically, I think the dance scenes were probably some of the best shot parts. Because every one of these things, they're doing some weird line dance or whatever.
Right, of course.
And I get it, like in the dance, we are seeing not only bodies change position, but personalities and attitudes change position. And so I think they did a good job of capturing the dance, and the camera's moving around, but not crazily, and we're getting it. But a lot of it was like kind of off-centered and off-framed. So I know that like there's a part where Emma's dancing with Mr. Bing Bong.
I can't remember his
Knightley.
name. Knightley.
And they are going to, he's going to pull her back or something, and they are going to get really close in the middle of the frame. Not hug, because that would be improper at this time.
Right.
But they start off, and she's almost out of frame on the left side, and he's like feet away from the frame on the right. And it looks like you're trying to make symmetry because there are dancers behind them. And I don't know.
It just didn't.
I mean, I have less experience than Autumn de Wilde does, no question. But I just felt like a lot of it was off. There are scenes that are framed. I know there's a height difference between them, but they're framed where Knightley's in frame. We reverse to Emma, and I don't know if we're trying to keep her like boobs in frame, but
Whoa.
the top of her head is cut off in the frame. It just
Which
seems
is
like
a weird choice.
Which is, yeah, you're not Yorgos Lanthimos.
Right.
You're just trying to do a reverse shot. This is an important scene where they're talking to each other, about these important things. And
yeah, I
did not. I thought their directing was the worst part.
I felt like the music was a little much. Like I don't know if it was.
Oh yeah.
Too loud, or like I thought it was like a little like on the comedic side, which is fine for like certain parts, but like I kind of want it to be like help me move the action of the film on, but like I don't want it to like stand out so much where I like notice it in a bad way, and that's kind of what happened, And I think it got a little bit better as the film went on, but it.
Yeah, once again, it's that same insecurity where they're afraid, oh, you're going to be bored by this. I didn't think that the sound was captured well. Like we immediately start the film out at the beginning, and it's not like the way that it was mixed. It was hard to understand exactly what they were saying, and it wasn't just, hey, Frank, hey, Ted, or whatever, egg salad, sure. Like, it was a lot of names, a lot of complicated things, and it wasn't coming through. And it's like Danny Elfman was doing the score. Like, it's so strong. And the movie finally, later on, settles down into itself, and you get these moments of silence similar to Portrait of a Lady, where you go, oh, I feel the emotion in this scene. But up to that point, it's just... Remember the flailing? The flailing's back. Not as bad as Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but sections of this were very sweaty, where, they did that bit. This is like a junior high theater bit where, Mr. Knightley comes in and he's going to talk to Emma's dad, Mr. Woodhouse. And, so he's like, oh, how are you? I'm fine. And then, like, Bill Nye sits down, and the guy sits down, but then Bill Nye gets back up again, and the guy gets back up again. And he's like, are you sure you don't want any cookies or anything? No, I'm fine. So, okay, and then Bill Nye sits down, and then the guy sits down, and then Bill Nye says, what about some milk? We get it. This is nothing new. You have done nothing new here. But now I know that first-time director, okay, yeah, I mean, I get it.
Right.
But, when Jonathan Frakes, oh my God, here we go.
Whoa.
Here we go, Star Trek.
Whoa.
When Jonathan Frakes directed The Offspring, he specifically looked at a bunch of Star Trek episodes, including ones that he was in, and went, I'm not going to do any of this stuff. How do I make my stuff differentiate from Star Trek that's come before.
I enjoyed the film, but I am like, we're not sold on Lily James. I'm not totally sold on Anya Taylor-Joy either. I didn't totally buy things that she said.
It's her first screenplay.
Okay.
All right, you know what? I'm instantly going to raise my review of this movie a point.
A point?
For a
Okay.
film that Focus Features, right?
I think so.
That they managed to convince somebody to pay for. This is like a Benioff and Weiss, only not 8 seasons of a show.
Whoa, yeah.
This is a director and a writer who have never done this before. Who just went, we want to do this. For a director and a writer who have never done this before, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the last movie I saw wasn't by a first-time director and a writer.
Right.
And so, if you want to get up to speed on that double Dutch,
Right.
then I think you need to bring it a little more.
Right. We saw some actors who were in Sex Education show up in this. And I think there were like some fun character moments throughout the film.
Like what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody who's in this is in something else. So, Rupert Graves is the Lestrade from Sherlock, right? This is just the BBC did a film, basically. You've got the kids from, I was going to say Ill Communication, but it's Sex Education.
Yeah.
Like, Ma, Belle, I got the Sex Education. You've got Callum Turner from Fantastic Beasts and Mia Goth from that horrible fire in which her eyebrows were claimed.
Oh, no.
And of course, Bill Nye. I'd never heard of Johnny Flynn before. Oh.
No, I never have either.
Oh, this.
Uh-oh, what?
This sucks.
Uh-oh.
Johnny Flynn, who played Mr. Knightley,
Yes.
is a British musician,
Oh.
singer,
Uh-oh.
songwriter,
Uh-huh.
and actor. So fourth
Why is actor listed
fourth
last? Yeah.
fourth down. He
Okay.
played in a Channel 4 sitcom called Lovesick.
Okay.
And yeah, his filmography is pretty short. Pretty short.
Well, he does play the violin and sing in the movie, so there you go.
Oh my god. And supposedly he is they're looking at him to play David Bowie in the upcoming Stardust film.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Wow. All right.
I'm gonna take my little point back.
Okay. Point given, point taken back.
The host giveth and the host taketh away. What are they doing?
I don't.
Here's the real story. I saw the Gwyneth Paltrow version of Emma
Yes.
in 1996,
Uh-huh.
24 years ago, in the same theater that we just saw Emma.
Oh wow!
In
I
the
didn't realize
same
that.
seat of the balcony. I mean, they're new seats. They redid the seats, but I sat in the same position 24 years later. And I gotta say, I'm not looking forward to Emma 2044 at this point.
Oh my goodness.
If this is the way that it's going to be, come on.
Yeah. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen the Gwyneth Paltrow Emma, but I feel like I enjoyed it.
It
more.
makes so much sense now that I know that half the people in this have never been in a movie before.
Yeah.
And you get that sort of, wow, that was a really good high school play feeling out of it. But it's never going to be the smallest portion of what professionals can do, you know?
Yeah.
I've never seen Ian McKellen be in a play on stage, but I've seen him in a talk.
Mm-hmm.
He came to the Guthrie Theater at the same time that he was touring The Seagull and King Lear.
Yes.
He was in a company that was doing both of those. And he was talking to the director, and it was just one of those like donor nights where you could come in. I don't know if King Lear was packed, but this was packed. Like the auditorium was full just to see him talk to the artistic director of the theater. They talked about all kind of stuff, and they talked about his, they had a connection. They had known each other for years, and I think at one point maybe worked together. Talked about, Gandalf or whatever.
Of course.
But then at one point, the director was like, well, would you mind doing something for us? And Ian McKellen is like, yes, I'd love to do a speech from, I think it was from The Seagull. And the thing about the speech, he was talking about the speech. He was talking about why it was important, how it fit into the play. And as he was doing that, he kind of stood up and was lecturing a little bit. And he got to the point where he's like, giving us the context that we need and an understanding. And he walks behind the chair, and immediately he is somebody else. He's the same old man in a cardigan, but suddenly he has power. He is telling us something. It's from the play. He is playing the role now. He's turned it on. It's that $1 million thing, it's what makes somebody an actor. And I know this is Fast and the Furious from the Victorian times, isn't it? Like this is just piffle, right? Yeah. Nobody read, the novel, well, maybe not at this point, but the novel isn't that old at this point. Like people picking up a book and just reading it for fun, and then going to a salon and talking to other people who have read the same book. This is kind of a new thing at this point. But nobody would look at Emma, even at the time, and go, this is great literature. Whoa. Nobody would do that,
I don't think it stands the test of time.
No, I think it stands the test of time.
Okay.
Completely. I'm not saying that the people in this have to have the command of McKellen's Lear.
I see.
But many of them can't command the little screen in this zero budget Emma.
Okay. Yeah.
Sweaty.
It is sweaty.
The guy who plays the vicar
yes.
is really going for it. There were different levels of going for it. Some people were really going for it. Some people were okay.
Right. And he kind of had like a comedic bent to him, which I
Comedy
get.
makes you laugh. He had a ridiculous bent to him.
Oh, okay.
That was really going for something.
Yeah, he had
I don't know if he got there.
Heightened way of talking.
And poor Mia Goth is caught up with having to play Harriet Smith, and she's not as pretty or as refined as Emma, so she's like stuffing crumpets into her mouth or macaroons or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she runs like a weirdo. The movie either should have tried to be as smooth and stylish as possible, in my opinion, or should have just really went for it.
For the comedy?
100%. Make this like a restoration farce, instead of a Regency comedy of manners. Because at times it seems like they wanted to do that. There was a lot of like people running into the room and whoa, and then there's like some reaction shots, like somebody's like blue, and then they'll cut to other people like, huh?
Yeah.
And then it wants to be a musical? And now that I know that guy is a musician, it's like, oh, of course.
Right. I get what you're saying, and I do think that it the tone was just kind of all over, and it should have I think maybe they should have gone for the comedy more, because that would have been a different take on it.
And the lady that plays she's I could be her father, but like plays Jane Fairfax is a pianist and violinist as well.
Okay. She plays the piano and stuff like that.
That was that was an okay scene, because
yes,
the thing about Emma is there's very little to vex her, but of course, this is something else that I read when I was reading up on Emma, which was Austen set out, in her own words, she said that she was setting out to make a protagonist that only she would like.
Which I think is
anybody who hadn't created this character would find it hard to like her. And also, it's one of the first novels, I think, that really emphasizes the fact that there is a subtext to what's going on. We are not supposed to. A lot of it is from Emma's narration or her inner monologue, but we're not supposed to agree with her the whole time. Something will happen and she'll be like, why won't it's very rude for so and so to do that, and it's like, Emma, they were just trying, you were being an asshole. You know, and we're supposed to disagree with her. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think that was there. I think the movie, like, I don't know if it... What do you think of the opening scene? Opening scene, here's what the opening scene was. Opening scene, she wakes up early in the morning.
Uh-huh.
She goes out with 2 servants
Yes.
who are carrying lanterns so she can go to the hothouse and pick a flower to, I don't know, put in a vase or give to her father or something like that. And she has to find the perfect flower, and she's like, no, this one.
Yeah. Well, she was picking a bouquet for her
Right.
former governess.
For governess.
Yes.
Played by Anya, or Arya, by Asha.
Asha.
Third time's
yes.
charm.
You got it.
From Game of Thrones.
I mean, I thought it was interesting. It was like showing that she was very particular and everything, and I think it's supposed to give us a good idea of what she's like and that she's highborn.
But nothing's
and
vexed her because she's a child and doesn't know the reality of the world.
Right.
She's not smart enough, or at least experienced enough to be vexed by the very vexing things around her. And this is a coming of age story.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
There's a scene where she gets a nosebleed, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, I read an article that was like, that's a symbolic deflowering.
What? I don't like that. I thought of like anime. Like that's what I thought of. And I was like, I know that's not what they're trying to do.
There must be Jane Austen anime somewhere. Go find it right now. We know that there's an anime Little Women.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a great scene where Emma lacks self-awareness, and so she like any good lady of breeding, she has talents. She paints. She's not a good painter.
No.
But the care that was put into the picture still pays off, you know, in affection at the end.
Yes.
And then she's playing and singing, and it's fine. It's a sweet sort of playing and sound. And then they're like, "Oh, Miss Fairfax, would you like to play?" She's like, "Well, I don't have any music. Hopefully I can remember the notes." Kicks the stool out back, and it's just, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, bits like that, I don't think that the movie has to, like, distract you from it being boring. But if it's going to be boring, and it kind of was, they need more bits like that.
Yeah, that was a great bit that paid off really well.
So now that I know that guy's not really an actor, and he's been in like 10 movies. I mean, at what point are you an actor? But that makes so much more sense. Fix it.
Fix it.
Anya Taylor-Joy is contractually obligated to pretend to make New Mutants 2 until the production finally collapses.
Oh my gosh.
And Johnny Flynn has a Japanese tour lined up. He's going all up and down the coast. So who do we got as Emma and Mr. Knightley?
Oh boy.
Maybe we'll go out on this because I know this will take a long time.
Who? Oh wow. I feel like Emma's always blonde.
Well, I don't think Anya Taylor-Joy is blonde. Is she?
I don't know. She always seems like she's blonde. Fair.
Bring it home. Bring it on home to me.
Who would be good? Who is up and coming? Who is British?
You know who's a musician who they don't have to be British.
Oh, I guess.
Annette Bening is in a movie.
Yeah, fair.
Who is here's somebody who's a musician who is also sometimes an actor. Jack White. Jack White is Mr. Knightley.
Oh my goodness.
Goth Pee Wee Herman is Mr. Knightley.
That wow.
Match it up.
Match it.
Billie Eilish is. We lean into the musical. We lean into it. I think I was saying this on the way out of the theater. Like, why don't we put Emma in space, you know, or why don't we make it a rock opera or something like that? Like,
sure,
because you're just going to keep making these over and over and over again. So let's just do something real to it. You know, we framed this when we decided to talk about it, which it's really falling apart at this point, as sort of neoclassical. You know, they were going to do it straight, but with, you know, a nosebleed that's supposed to mean something or something. Like, it's going to have modern touches to it. That flamed out because it was a very straightforward kind of dry, not subtextless, I think, version of it. But yeah, put it so Billie Eilish, and the ages are right.
Whoa.
Maybe they're more right than they should be.
Yeah.
And then you got Goth Pee Wee Herman is Mr. Knightley. And Billie Eilish is just rolling around on the floor trying to match people up. You and you and you. And then Mr. Knightley comes in and he's like, "Come on now, woman." You're like, "Does he think he's black?" "I say, sir, do you believe that you are black?"
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'd like to see rock and roll Emma.
"I'd like to see you help me get out of this." And then they could play music, right?
Yes.
So like Billie Eilish is doing her like, she's playing a harpsichord, right? It's like, ding, 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 I'm a bad boy, I'm a bad boy, I'm a bad boy. It's like, okay, fine. And then Miss Fairfax is like, "Bam, rolling on the river." It's like just a whole. We try to fit, because there's class in this too, right? There's high class.
Sure.
Emma's very rich.
Yes.
And doesn't hold it over everybody, but has power because of it.
Yes.
But then she has to interact with people like the farmer guy.
The Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Martin. And her best friend is like a bastard child from the girls' home.
Right.
Yeah, and you never know if she's doing it because it's charitable or if she's doing it because she really cares. And maybe that is a slider that goes more one way than the other by the time we reach the end of the film.
I think like
But you could have, but let me finish. The rich people music could, forget chamber music. It could be esoteric, experimental. I guess I consider Billie Eilish to be experimental, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Or it could be like totally lame. Let's have like the Decemberists just do all the rich people music.
Sure.
But then the poor people music is like 2 Chainz and
just rolling on a river.
well, that's
and,
that's the Turner. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jack White, who thinks that he's black. But let's face it, some of the best white musicians have thought they're black.
Yeah, that's true.
And the black people are like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I think that could really work.
Really?
It would
Really?
it would be totally different. And it sounds like it could be really entertaining too.
So would you recommend this movie?
Would I recommend this movie? I thought it was okay. I liked it well enough. So, I mean, if you're a Jane Austen fan, and I would recommend it.
Yeah. Walk, don't run to see Emma.
Okay.
It's not terrible. It's been a long time since I've seen the older one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this for Anya Taylor-Joy, who I think is still... I think she's still looking for her lane,
Yes.
I wouldn't say that she is untalented, but...
No.
I don't know. I haven't seen, Split. I haven't seen all of her movies, but I don't know if she's right for this. And love or hate Gwyneth Paltrow and her Jade Yoni eggs or whatever, she is charming.
Yes.
And so she can just, she has charisma. And so you understand why people would put up with Emma and all the crap that she does.
Right.
But yeah, it's, it's fine.
It's passable.
Passable.
Yeah.
Exceedingly passable. Rolling on the river.
Every now and then, I think you might like to hear something from us. Nice, easy. There's just one thing.
Wow. What a disaster. I don't feel like we landed that.
No, you don't think so?
Nope.
How could we have done it better?
We're pretty punchy, and I think our minds are on other things. We also could have picked 3 better films.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you there.
One guy, I forgot to mention the one guy from Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So you've got Mr. Darcy.
Yes.
Awful. I don't know where that guy came from, and I don't know where he is now, but it's probably a community theater stage. And then Mr. Bingley. I've seen him in other stuff.
Really?
And, yeah. And
Okay.
he is, because of his face. Like he is like a picture come to life. He is like sickeningly handsome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a good-looking
And
guy.
surprise, surprise, not much of a performer.
No.
Those two tend to not go really well together. You know, he is like a figurehead. Like he is like a bust, like a sculpture bust.
Sure.
That they put a wig on.
Right.
And so like that, yeah, that just really holds it back. But then, I don't know, whatever. You get him and Bella Heathcote together at the end. It's like, go have god babies, go create some new race of mannequins that are, more than mortal men. But
wow.
not in this movie. I don't know how we could have fixed it. It was really bad. Emma was written in 1815. I guess I didn't realize that. I mean, I guess if it's Regency or whatever, then that's when it is. But...
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Do you know when Pride and Prejudice was written?
I do not know when Pride and Prejudice was written. When was it written?
I want you to guess.
I'm going to guess it was before that. I'm going to guess 1800.
You get 2 more guesses. Let's see if you can get it right on.
Oh, okay. 1812?
No.
1802.
Let's jump back to 1813.
Oh, okay.
So,
close
depending
with
on your
1812.
opponent, you might have won the Showcase Showdown there. But
Okay.
yeah, so they're both, they're actually not that far away from Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. No, I mean, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Sure.
Samurai or Kung Fu? Which one?
Kung Fu.
Really?
Oh, no. Which one would I prefer? Samurai, for sure.
What'd you think?
I don't
What'd you think I was asking?
know. It felt like you were like...
Pick a card, any card?
Yeah, I don't know what I thought you were doing. Samurai movies. How about you? Samurai or Kung Fu?
I'm kind of sick of samurai.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, we were talking before about how none of these movies, not Portrait, because minimalist, that was what they wanted, that's what they got. But Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Emma, who we now know were written within 3 years of each other, could have used a real swing for the fences. If you watch some of those old Kung Fu movies, they don't give a shit. They're just going for it.
Right.
They've got my secret technique of making my eyebrows disappear. It's like, whoa. There's a great video with the RZA on YouTube talking about the albums that inspired Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Like, the Mystery of Chess Boxing is a real movie. It isn't just something they came up with to name a song or an album.
Sure.
And he talks about how, sure, there's like cool, stories about wushu warriors, but it's a lot of goofy stuff too. It's like, my technique lets me step on men's heads. And it's like, oh no, cover your heads.
Right. Well, they're just trying to be entertaining.
Tiger style. They're entertaining, but they also contain elements of an adventure, a tragedy, a story of revenge that also has, a guy whose technique is farting on people or something like that. And it works.
Yeah.
Anyway, fart on us on social media, on Facebook and Twitter at Just Enough Trope. Go to your listening platform of choice, subscribe to us, rate and review us. We really appreciate it. It really helps us out more than you'd think. Call the action. Ring, ring. Hi, it's action. Give us a rating. We need it, and we would appreciate it. And give us 5 flowers. Clipped by Emma.
Yes.
Sorry, by Emma's servant. Who then she rejects. And then we see Mr. Knightley fully naked.
I know.
Sex?
I
read a lot of articles because this movie confounded me. And one of the articles was, it's all about sex. It's like they took the overabundance of clothes in the Regency era and they can get honest when they are stripped down. So like Emma, some Emma's clothes are not that binding, but Emma's like when she gets down to her when she unlaces her shoes, after the dance or whatever, she's more vulnerable. Or like when she's talking to Harriet, and she's just in her shift or whatever, it's like that's when she can be the most open. And I'm like, okay, but then why do we see the dude's butt like 6 minutes in? And then why do we see Emma's butt when she's trying to warm herself at the fire? I mean, clearly that would be a practicality of the time, but what?
I don't know. I think they were just trying to show that he's been traveling and he's going off but why show us his naked body? I don't know.
We're trying to lock that PG-13 in, and we didn't even get it. It's PG.
Oh, it's just PG. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
69% on Metacritic.
Yeah, not very high.
So give us 5 stars.
Instead.
We don't want anything to do with Emma. We'll be back in the future to talk about something else, and in the near future to talk about Emerald City Comic Con. So stay tuned for that. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.